Hi my friends, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to be doing 3 different cards using the latest card kit from MFT called All Smiles. And I'm going to start off with my first card and we're going to do some die cutting first. So I used the Blueprints 27 to die cut my panels. I will be using this die quite a bit in the 3 cards that I made today. Because I like the overall look of it. And so I'm going to place this into my Misty stamping tool here because I'm going to be doing a little bit of embossing first. So I'm going to prep my white card base with my anti-static powder tool here. While I'm doing that, I'm prepping, I'm going to let you know that I will have obviously all the products that I'll be using in today's cards listed below the video as well as on my blog. But keep in mind that the main products from the card kit itself is sold out, but the products themselves will be released individually in a later product release with MFT. So I don't have any of the stamps or cardstocks or the dies listed in the product product description because obviously they're not available for individual purchase yet. But keep in mind that will be coming. So I just wanted to let you guys know that ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and I've placed all of my stamps that I wanted to use onto this panel. And I did obviously prep it with my powder tool like I said. Now I'm going to ink it up with my Versamark ink here. Get that really good and covered. This is the first time that I am stamping with these stamps. So I want to make sure that I'm getting them really good and covered with my Versamark ink here. I am going to be doing it a second time just to be on the safe side. I probably didn't need to. But like I said, since it's the first time I'm using these stamps, I wanted to make sure that I got a really good impression with this ink here. So I'm going to, like I said, ink this up one more time and then stamp it down. And then I'm going to cover this whole entire panel with some white embossing powder. And my favorite white embossing powder comes from Hero Arts. It's a really great detail embossing powder. And so if you're looking for one and you're just kind of struggling on which one to get if you're new to card making, go ahead and give Hero Arts a try and see how you like it. I really do like it. It's a great powder and a great product. So I'm going to cover all of my images here as best as I can. I'm going to go ahead and heat set that with my heat tool and did that off camera there. Now I'm going to just get some regular typing paper here to protect my work surface because I don't want to get too much ink onto my pad here. So I'm just going to take some, like I said, computer paper here and just kind of tape this down to my work surface because I'm going to be using some distress inks to do inking all over my background. So we're going to be doing the embossed resist technique. So I've got abandoned coral and I've got dried marigold, and I thought these 2 colors would be really, really pretty together. So before I start inking up, I do want to go ahead and mask off the edges all around this panel here because I want to have a white border all the way around this panel. So I went ahead and masked off all of those edges there. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink up starting with the abandoned coral, and I'm going to ink this up pretty well, pretty liberally. You know, if you've never done anything with distress inks, you got to keep the ink moving, especially if you're working on regular cardstock, which obviously I am. So you know, you just want to keep moving and just kind of keep blending. Some people have a hard time with blending with distress inks. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I think I've been doing a little bit longer now to know, you know, what I need to do and what not to do. So, so I want to move on to my next color here, and then I'm going to go ahead and add as much color as I can to the bottom of this panel with the ink that I'm using here. So one thing you got to keep in mind too whenever you're using distress inks is that even if it looks splotchy at first, it will also even out. Even though once it dries into the paper, I always find that if I feel like it looks still kind of splotchy after I've done ink blending with it, it's still, after it dries into the paper, it still evens out. So I do like that factor of this ink too. So, but I'm also going to add some more ink on top just to keep blending. But I'm also going to add some water droplets because one of the best things with distress inks, if you've never used them before, is that they are really great and reactive with water. And that's what makes it so fun. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my distress sprayer here with my water in it. going to spritz that onto my panel here, and then I'm just going to leave that just for a few seconds, and then kind of dot it up with a paper towel. Or actually, this is just a baby wipe, a dry baby wipe that I had on my desk here. So I'm going to use that, and I wanted to add just a little bit more of those water droplets to get that good effect that I want. And then going to move on to removing all of the masks around the edges. But I want to make sure that I get that residual ink off of that embossing because I don't want it to stain it. I want this to be really bright white. So you can see as I'm taking off the masks here, it leaves behind that really nice white border, which is so fun. And it looks like it's actually matted when it's really not. So it's really cool. So I'm going to remove my little my paper that I was ink blending with out of the way. And I'm going to figure out which die of the 2 dies that were in the kit, what I wanted to use on this card. So I decided to go ahead and use one of the more scriptier one. And I believe this color of cardstock that I die cut this out of is called Persimmon. And I thought it went well with the color scheme that I was using. So I am just going to add some multi-matte medium adhesive onto that die cut and get that into place. I've got my little flat backed tweezers here to help me keep my fingers out of the way as I'm placing this down on my panel. And so I want to use really thin beads of glue, and I don't want to add too much because you don't want the glue to ooze out of the die cut. Even though if it did, it would be okay because it will dry down to a matte finish, and that's what's so great about this adhesive. So I'm just trying to get that little dot of the eye, or the tittle, the technical term of the eye here, and get that into place onto that adhesive that I added. And I'm using my little jewel picker here, which is really great. I've been enjoying this tool since I bought it about a month ago. I think it's about a month ago I bought it. So I'm going to go ahead and score my card base and then add some just regular tape runner on the back of this panel and then get that into place. And then that will complete the front of the card. Then I was going to go ahead and use the sentiment stamp set that's also in the kit and put the It's Your Birthday sentiment on the inside of the card. So this is going to be a birthday card. So, because you never can have too many, or I can't, because I usually make a lot of birthday cards simply because I am obviously the card maker, and so I have a day job, which I don't know if some of y'all know that, but I do have a day job, and I work with several different ladies and at a local hospital here where I live, and so I'm the one that usually makes everybody's birthday cards for the group. So like I said, I can never have too many. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up this little bitty flower here from that flower stamp set. This is called Plentiful Petals, by the way. And I'm just, usually Distress ink is not the best for actual stamping, but for this card it's just fine. So I'm going to move on to my second card, and I've kind of slowed this down just a little bit, but what I'm going to be doing is prepping a white card base. This white cardstock comes in the kit. You get 3 different sheets, or obviously, like I said, you did get 3 sheets. Obviously, I keep saying you can because you can't, but unfortunately, and I'm sorry about that. But just using obviously any white cardstock that you have. And then what I did was take that another white cardstock panel here, and I die cut again with that Blueprints 27 die. And I'm just going to mark around the edges here. What I'm going to do, I took that other Smile die and I die cut 3 more panels of cardstock that came in the kit, and I'm going to do kind of like an ombre-ish type design here, but I wanted to cover this whole entire panel on my white card base here with adhesive, because this is going to make it so much easier to add all of these little die cuts to my panel. And it's going to be that die cut inlay technique. So I'm going to place my panel down there, and then all you'll see, I'm going to remove my little pencil marks there. Now, that way I won't forget it later. I think I did forget it one, but I did go back and get it too later on. So I am going to take all of the die cuts before I adhere them into the panel here. And I'm just going to bring back my little sheet of typing paper, and I'm going to add some Wink of Stella shimmer on top of all of these die cut letters, just to give it a little something extra to the die cuts, because obviously this is a very flat card, and even though we're doing a die cut inlay, which is a very cool technique, I wanted add a little bit of shimmer and shine to these letters. So it was easier to go ahead and do it this way first before I added them, because that way the shimmer was already on them and all I had to do was just place them in the die cut areas where I needed to with each letter as a puzzle piece. So these went in pretty well. Now I did speed up the video just a little bit because obviously I'm making 3 cards in this one video, but I did go ahead and I had a little bit too much shimmer, and then whenever I wiped it off, I removed a little bit too much, so I was re-adding that shimmer. So, but I'm getting all the letters placed in. Like I said, this is very easy to do because you're essentially just placing these in like die cut pieces, and it's really super fun. Actually, it's kind of relaxing in a way, but it helps to have tweezers to help you do this, because all you got to do is just kind of place these in each letter and then kind of press it down. So I really do like the way that this one came out. It's really a different look and a really fun look because you're using a lot of that cardstock, and I just love the color scheme too. So I'm going to work on getting the rest of my letters placed into the areas where they need to go, and then you'll see the S here. I was having a hard time, and I thought, why is this not fitting the way it's supposed to? Well, silliness, I got to turn it around because it was actually upside down. It doesn't look like it is, but it really is. So if you do this, if you do wind up getting these products later on and you do this technique, there is a right and a wrong way for this S, believe it or not. So that fit much better once I got that in. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete the last sentiment here, and that's all placed into those areas. And I'm just going to give my card base a really good crease with my bone folder. Like I said, I was removing that one pencil mark that I missed before. I'm going to take my bone folder here and just really make sure that I get all of those letters adhered to the adhesive. And then I was going to go ahead and add another sentiment on the inside, which is happiness is contagious. I thought that went well with the design with the 3 smiles on the outside. And that will complete card number 2. And I was just going to show you how really flat this is. So this is a really great card to put in through the mail. So card number 3, I'm going to use, I did die cut earlier a smile on this white card panel, and I thought I would go ahead and use it for card number 3. So I did cut it down with that same Blueprints 27 frame die. And now I'm just going to take some of these flowers and stamp onto this whole panel here. And so I'm just going to start with the largest flower. And I'm going to be using all Lawn Fawn inks for this, as I don't have any MFT inks. So, and I really do love my Lawn Fawn ink. They've got really good colors and they give good coverage. Although that I'm using the Misty, they really do good coverage, I think, in my opinion. So I'm going to start off with using Peachy Keen here. This is a really pretty peach color, obviously, as the name suggests. And I'm going to stamp this down twice because I really want to get good coverage and solid stamping. So I'm going to ink that up twice. And I think it's just a habit now, when anytime that I use the Misty, that I want to use it, stamp it twice if I wanted to. So it's more or less a habit. Sometimes I really don't need to do it, but I just do it just because I guess I can. So, so I'm going to go ahead and ink up next with the next color, which is Sunflower. Really beautiful yellow color. And I'm going to stamp that down. I'm kind of making a trio of flowers here. Going to remove that one and then pick out my next flower image that I want to place up in the upper corner there. And this is Fake Tan, which is a nice, pretty, deeper orange color. Again, I'm going to stamp it down twice. And then I wanted to go ahead and add some leaves and a little bit more greenery to the design. And as I was placing these, it just wasn't, I thought about going ahead and making some masks for some of these flowers, but I had already made the other 2 cards, and I was getting actually quite tired. So, and I had some other things to do, like laundry and all that other stuff. So I decided against doing it like this way, but I am going to do some stamping around the smile die cut word there that I have, and I'm just kind of placing the little center of the flower there. So I was kind of thinking about it as I was doing this part. So I'm just going to stamp down some of the centers of the flowers in different colors that I've already used. So I'm going to pick out each different one. There are different centers of these flowers, and you can mix and match if you wanted to. This is freshly cut grass of a really pretty bright green color. And anyway, so the centers of the flowers, there's several different ones in this stamp set, and you can mix and match if you wanted to. But the stamp set does have on the, if you saw the unboxing of the card kit that I did previous to this video, it shows, or it has a little diagram, if you will, around the images as to which ones go together. But you know, stamping, you do what you want, and feel free to create with what you want to within whatever order or way you want to. So that's what's so great about creativity. So you can experiment and see what you can come up with that's not necessarily intended to how to use it, you know. So like I said, I'm going to go back to the leaves here, and I thought it would be kind of neat to add some of those leaves images to around the sentiment there. So I'm going to ink it up with that same green ink, the freshly cut grass. And then I wanted to add one little bitty flower above the M. So I'm going to take this little bitty flower here and ink it up with bubblegum ink. It's a really pretty bright pink. And then add a little bit of a dot center to that flower using the Peachy Keen. Now on camera it probably looks like the same color, but I promise there is a little bit of variation between the two colors. So I just figured I'd just go ahead and take my little acrylic block to do this, because it's just a very small image or a small stamp. So I'm just going to ink it up with that Peachy Keen and stamp that in the middle. So I really like how that kind of turned out and how looked like the overall design of this one too. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it from my MISTI, and then we're going to go ahead and prep the card base, which is a piece of the green cardstock that was in the kit. And I added a bunch of adhesive, foam adhesive on the back of this because I want to pop it up, especially around the sentiment die cut area. I really did focus on putting some adhesive around that, you know, that way if I put this through the mail, it won't collapse. So I'm going to add one more sentiment to this card here on the outside, which says, "You're awesome." This sentiment stamp set is a really great one. It's got a lot of great uplifting sentiments on it, and I'm anxious for those that did not get the kit, that if you wanted this stamp set, it will be available at a later date. So that completes card number 3, guys, and here's a look at all 3 cards that I made in today's video. I hope you enjoyed each and every one of them. Like I said, I apologize that the products are not available for purchase just yet, but if you are interested, I'm sure that they will be available probably in the September, I would think the September release. So look out for that in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you to subscribe, and I will catch you on my next video. Bye-bye.